Toe hung where you can't see. It's not Christmas anymore. We're live. It's 8 o'clock, 8:09. 8:09, 8:09. My family's downstairs watching Ford versus Ferrari. My wife loves when Carol Shelby and Ken Miles fight. It's just awesome. That's a good show. So we're doing our last show for 2024. It's 12:31. It's 8 o'clock. We're sneaking up on New Year's, on the New Year, at least here in California. It's getting very close back on the East Coast and obviously other places around the world. Happy New Year to everybody that's already, off into the future, off starting the new year. We haven't started yet, so we can still complain about the old year or look forward to it being good. Actually, this year has been very good. Big changes, lots of stuff going on with the channel's doing good. We managed with help from Jimmy. So thanks, Jimmy, for helping me get the store up and working. And so that's good. We got some new products on there. We're selling some stuff, which is good. So that's kind of in full swing. We're going to obviously add a bunch of products to it. And so, we started out with just cams, just the low buck truck camshaft and the Truck Plus camshaft. So you have two choices. You can have a really good, power output with low speed, good boost cam, all that stuff. If you want a little bit more power on top, we have a camshaft that has about another 15 horsepower on top. Then we added other things, springs, spring kits, and to go with the cams and lifters and injectors, fuel pumps and stuff. And for testing our new tools that I want to put up, those should be up. I want to make sure that they're going to work like I think that they do. I've tried variants of both of these already. I just want to make sure the ones that we have are the correct ones. And then we have turbos coming up. Ben from the Car Farm and I are talking about getting the Omni maybe down to Jimmy's place. He's got a chassis dyno. We could do a bunch of chassis dyno testing. And we're also going to put the LS in my Mustang and then do a bunch of testing with that, with the Mustang, having an LS in there so that we could do chassis dyno testing and we could, drive it around and stuff too, which would also be cool. So a lot of cool stuff going on for plan for the new year. I'm excited about that. So, but we're finishing up. We're finishing up strong and then going into the new year, hopefully with fingers crossed. The thumbnail that I have up is actually a stack injection setup that we did. My buddy Tom built the intake manifolds, a custom intake manifold, and it was designed to accept, basically these are the same as a Weber carb flange. So it's actually a DCOE, even though these are downdrafts. It's run as side drafts on a lot of stuff too, but you can run them as downdrafts because it's fuel injection. It's not carburation. So it has injectors hidden inside there where the emulsion tubes and stuff would normally be. And the nice thing about them, I honestly think for really high horsepower stuff, they probably were undersized. They were 48 millimeters, but they flowed a lot more than a 48 millimeter Weber did because they don't have everything in the way. And they work really well. And we never found a set of, I think when we tested them on the Volkswagen stuff, so we tested them in downdraft configuration on some VW stuff where guys were using big Webers. They're using 48s. And I want to say he had some in the 50s. They might have had them all the way up to 58s. And so they're like, yeah, those are not going to be big enough, except that none of those Webers, even the bigger ones, ever made more power than this fuel injection did, primarily because you can have a giant size Weber on. I don't care if you put a Dominator on there. If you neck it down to the port size of the head, the port size of the head is smaller than the opening of the Weber is. And so, but we did some cool testing with those because I've told this story before, but we did some changes in stack length. And we're like, yeah, you want to make more average power? Don't run really short manifolds on it. Oh, what do you mean? Well, watch, I'll show you. I said, do you have any aluminum tubing sitting around? Give me some 2-inch aluminum tubing or even 1 3/4. I don't care at this point, whatever you got. And so we just taped it in place. I said, okay, now run it. And they had an old Stuska dyno where they were controlling it and the lever and the knob and the load knob. And they were Volkswagen air-cooled engines too. So they couldn't do a sweep. They could just load it at one particular RPM and only for a brief period of time. I'm like, really, how fragile are these motors that you can't load it and get a reading where it's stabilized? I wanted to shake somebody. It was frustrating. But at any rate, the fuel injection did very well. And we were able to, unlike a typical carburetor. I don't want to throw shade at Weber's because they work great. I've run them a lot, but in any kind of fuel injection, you can have whatever air fuel you want at whatever load and RPM and all that. You can't normally do that perfectly with a carburetor. So they worked out really well in the testing. Those guys were really happy with it. But on this case, we put 4 of the 2 barrels on there on the downdraft setup for the LS, and then ran that on an LS, and naturally it worked well. As you can see with that, because the runner length in this, it's an IR deal, but they all have individual butterflies. The runner length goes from, it includes the head, but goes all the way up, excuse me, to the radius entry of, going into these things. And so it's fairly long. So it had a really good power curve, and, it's an IR deal and made good power. And I think in the case of the LS, because we were making a lot of power per cylinder compared to the Volkswagen, I think we could have used bigger ones too for some higher horsepower stuff. But they, like I said, they flowed fairly well, and they work pretty good. This made good power. We compared it a couple of different intake manifolds, and it did awesomely. And so, is this my favorite intake? No, but it was a really cool test to watch Tom weld this thing together. Was kind of an awesome deal. I like watching people fabricate stuff because you get, I call it points in space. So it's like when you're making an exhaust setup, like the stuff that I do on the dyno. Okay, the turbo is going to go here. Okay, well, let's just have the turbo hover there, whether you bolt it there or whatever. Let's have it hover there. And then everything needs to go over there, kind of. So it needs to be in that area. So then you make that work. And it's the same thing with this intake manifold. It's got like, okay, all these got to go there. They're going to go about right there. And then you start running into things like, okay, well, how high they need to be is going to be dictated by, how abrupt we want this turn to be. And then while we're making a turn, we have to transition from a weird cathedral port thing into just a circle, and then there's got to be a flange to mount it on, and, all of those things that happen when you're trying to fabricate that stuff. So, but tonight, really what I want to talk about, and this is more for you guys, that was a cool intake manifold, but we want to talk about your favorite stuff. So I get asked all the time, okay, Richard, what's your favorite car? Or what's your, are you a Ford guy or Chevy guy? What's your favorite cam? What's your favorite turbo? What's, whatever. Now, I have in the past expressed favoritism to various things. The Extreme Energy 274 cam for the Ford is a perfect example of that. The big block BR 300 cam, and even earlier on, a lot of the 459 and 469 LS cams, primarily because I've run those on so many things. So when somebody asks me about something, what I can tell them is I don't necessarily say like this is the best cam and this thing is the only one that you should get. I just say, look, when we ran this cam, we used this cam to make this amount of power. There's going to be lots of other camshafts also that can make that power. Same thing with cars. I like lots of different weird cars. Like I'd love to have a BMW i7. I think that'd be fantastic. I'd love to have a Nash Metropolitan. I'd like to have a Toyota 2000, but I'd like to have a McLaren F1. I like all kinds of stuff. I really want a Chevelle. Now, and every time I watch Jack Reacher, it makes me want a big block Chevelle. I can't believe how they beat on that thing so much. So my first question for tonight, and then this makes me think about this because I've been thinking about this all day. We want to talk about your favorite stuff. So, but before we get to that, so what's a better movie? If for the guys that have seen Nobody or Jack Reacher, which one do you identify with more? I identify more with Nobody because he's not like a trained assassin that was trained by, the Russian syndicate or whatever. He's not part of the high table or whatever. He's just he's just a regular guy. I really like, and I also watched Beekeeper the other day, I think yesterday. And I love that too. I love the idea that there's a secret society of people that are, that are tough as nails and can beat up everybody. That's kind of awesome. So let me know, which one do you like better? Do you like Nobody or do you like Jack Reacher better? I happen to like both of them. And I also like Jack Reacher, the series. And I think that the new season should be coming out pretty soon, but I like that stuff, but I also like Wednesday. so I'm excited about the new, cause I love the Addams Family growing up. So I'm excited about the new series, the next season of Wednesday. So I like lots of weird stuff. So let me know which one of those you like Beekeeper, Den of Thieves, also good. I thought that was good. I liked, and I liked him in the submarine movie too. Not Red October, but it's like that. Hunter Killer. That was good. So let me know, and in fact, we'll start with that. You guys, let me know. First of all, we'll get going with the easy stuff. Protect the Hive. Exactly. That was good. And I loved all the bee references and stuff in that Beehive movie. It was cool, and I love that they created really good bad guys because I hate people, preying on the elderly and stuff. That's just those kinds of people. There should be a special hell for those kinds of people. But on your favorite thing, so what? Let me know, because I get asked this all the time. What's your favorite car? Like, that's a real simple thing. If you have a favorite car, what is it? What's your favorite thing? If you could have any kind of car, what kind of car would it be? So what's your favorite one? Maybe it could be what's the favorite one you've owned, or what's the favorite one that you wish you had? We could all go crazy and like, Richard wants a McLaren F1. I don't think that that's realistic. I don't know that that's ever going to happen in my lifetime. I don't know that the store isn't really doing McLaren F1 well. Maybe McLaren F1 Matchbox well right now, but so that's beyond the realm of possibility, I think, at this point in my life. But what do you like? Like, what's your favorite kind of car? What speaks to you? Do you like I'm partial to lots of cars, obviously the McLaren, but 1970 and a half Z28. Because my first car was that. And so we all kind of, I think, go back and long for our first car. Like I said, I like lots of weird stuff. I saw that Renault was coming out with a new modern version of an R5 Turbo, which I think, if I had lottery money, that would definitely be in the garage. Just because I think that was always a cool car. And then I showed that to my buddy Bernie, because they had a guy had one of those at the shop that we were at all the time. And then he reminded me, he goes like, yeah, but what about the Shogun? I'm like, yeah, that's also good too. So, so much good stuff. Or any of the Group B cars, an RS200, I think, would be fantastic. An Audi Sport Quattro would be amazing. There's a Lancia Delta would be, there's all of those are just really, really, really good. So let me know. So favorite car, that's good. And then favorite movie, since we were talking about Jack Reacher and that stuff, some people feel free, throw out your favorite movie. That's good. I think for me, my favorite movie, probably the ones that I watch all the time, Replacements, Major League, that kind of stuff. But honestly, I think Jaws is still right up there. Only because I'm a big shark person, and that was part of it. But because of the influence that it had on the worldwide public, I don't think there's been anything like that. There's, we see scary movies, and I went through what I would call the renaissance of horror movies back when they first started with Halloween and Friday the 13th, and we went through Freddy Krueger and all that stuff. Those are all cool, and I like those, and I like Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead and all the whole Deads, the whole Dead series. All of that was cool, but I don't think anything ever did anything to people's psyche the way that, and kept people out of the water the way that Jaws did. And unfortunately for Peter Benchley, and he feels bad about this, that it kind of turned everybody against sharks. And people went out and wanted to show how manly they were and go out and catch all of these great whites and stuff. And it just was terrible for the population, because we know that sharks are not bad. They're not evil demons that are trying to hunt you. And then in the later ones, hunting your family down too, which was, that was good. So for me, I think that's probably pretty high up there. But there are a lot of them that I like. The first Indiana Jones movie, the first Star Wars movie that I saw was fantastic. There have been some good ones. The first Avengers movie was amazing. And Tombstone. Oh yes, yes. I'm your Huckleberry. There's nobody, in my opinion, that's been ripped off for an Academy Award the way that Val Kilmer was for his portrayal of Doc Holliday in Tombstone. I haven't seen anything that's egregious. That was just amazing. I remember seeing, I think it was Sam Elliott, and Sam Elliott's got some chops. I mean, that guy's gangster. And he said that he was in just awe of watching Val Kilmer's portrayal of Doc Holliday, that he would come in even when his scenes weren't being filmed just to watch. So that's not even with all of the things going on after the editing and all of the cool things in the movie. That's just watching a guy do his thing. That's a pretty amazing thing. So I'm glad somebody brought that up. That might be my favorite Western. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is very, very close to that. I think you use enough dynamite there, Butch. I'm a big fan of Paul Newman because I actually got to sit I didn't meet him, but I got to sit in the driver's meeting with him when I was at the Long Beach Grand Prix, because he was driving for the Lotus team in the Bridgestone Supercar Series. And I was driving a Mustang at the time. And so I got to sit in driver's meetings a couple of times with him. And I'm not like starstruck by anybody, but him, that was pretty cool. But also in the room were Mario Andretti and Al Unser and all of these guys. So, because a lot of times when we were at the Long Beach Grand Prix, we were there with the IndyCar guys. So it was pretty neat. We weren't hanging out with them or getting drinks with them or anything. Lisa's favorite movie is Megamind. My giant blue head. There's so many good scenes in that. So many good lines. Is the Omni getting to get a bigger turbo? We're going to try doing, it won't be a hub dyno. It'll be I forgot what dyno does he have. It's not a hub dyno though, but it is a chassis dyno. Band of Brothers, also good, great series. I did watch that. Favorite car is my Mercedes. Yes, she does like her car. She even talks about it in the third person. Mercedes doesn't like that. Very, very good. So what else? So favorite car, favorite movie. Favorite track for anybody that's done any either drag racing or road racing. What's your favorite track? Mine, I think, is Road America, because it's long, it's beautiful. But we won there, which was cool. When I was running U.S. Touring Car, I've driven on that track a number of times for when I was doing World Challenge. It's an amazing track, and I had a really fun time there for a Chevy long lead, where those are things where they introduce new vehicles to all the magazine guys. So they just let you come out and drive a bunch of their cars, which, all the guys are like, oh yeah, I want to run all these fast cars. And Joe Pettit and I were like, let's get in that Caprice car, that the police car. It's like an LC9 or something like that was the designation for it. And so we're taking turns driving, and we're just having a blast because we're, And I'm like, dude, I can go flat there. I can go flat in the kink. He's like, no, you that car won't go flat in the kink. I'm like, no, I can go flat in the kink. I can make this car do this. I can will this car to do this. And I did it. And we had big, giant moments, tank slappers and stuff going down the back straightaway. I gathered it up because if I would have gotten off the gas at all, we would have been in the wall. But you just stay flat in it and try to gather it up and go, yep, I've got to hold my foot down, cannot lift it, because this thing has a big polar moment. It's gigantic, and once it starts rotating, it would create a negative singularity. But it was awesome, and we got to drive lots of cool cars. Like the Cavalier Z24. They had the ZR1, which I did drive that, and that was fun. With the engineer, one of the Corvette engineers, he's like, yeah, you're a little too late here, and he was right. We went off on the gravel a little bit. It was fun. I just wanted to see a big number on the back straightaway. But that's a really good track. Bathurst, that's awesome stuff. So tracks. What else do we have? What's your favorite form of forced induction? So we can start there too. What is it? Is it turbos? Is it a blower? Is it nitrous? Not just forced induction, but like, let's say power adder. So you can put nitrous in there too. But if you're going to do a blower, what kind of blower is it? Is it a centrifugal blower? And which one is it? Is it a ProCharger? Is it a Vortec? Is it a Torque Storm? What is it? Is it an axial blower? Because you're not going to see too many of those running around. Is it a Roots blower? Like, is it a Magnuson? Is it a 671? Is it a twin screw like a Whipple or a Kenny Bell supercharger? Which form, like which kind of power adder do you like? What is your favorite for the end of the year? And are you gonna think about maybe changing that for going into, and are you, or even better, are you going to apply that, do you think, in 2025? Lots of good stuff. Force induction. What is your favorite? Would you rather? What is your favorite? What is your favorite engine family? So do you have that? Are you do you like Cleveland's? Do you like Barra's? The or in on I think it was on Facebook. They were asking, somebody had made a comment about what their favorite 3 Ford engines are. 6-cylinder, small block, and big block, I think was their designations. And so for 6-cylinder, the guy picked Barra, which I thought was genius. I mean, I don't think you're gonna find a better 6-cylinder than that. And then for the small block, they picked 289 302 Windsor. I'm like, nope. And then for big block, they picked an FE 427, like a side oiler. I'm like, that's pretty good, but that's not the one I would pick. And if we raced, I would win. So I'd pick Barra, but I would pick Cleveland over the Windsor. And then I would pick 429, like a Super Cobra Jet, 429 460 over the FE motor. I know the FE motor won Le Mans, and we're just watching that, and won Daytona. And the 427 or the 429s did not. But if you look at the flow rate of a side oiler, like a medium riser head, and the flow rate of a Super Cobra Jet 429, I don't think there's any. And then you go to extremes. You could go to a Boss motor, I guess. Guys could say, but what about the camera motor? Yeah, you could kind of do that. That's never a production motor, though. So you can argue about all that stuff, but it's an interesting thing. I thought it was a good post. I think it'd be fun to do that, with Chevrolet stuff too. There's a lot of good ones, to pick there. I don't think, well, Chevrolet has the 4200 Atlas 6-cylinder, so that would be a good choice, I think, for that. For at least for the 6-cylinder version, like a lot of guys could pick the 292 or the 230s or the 250s or whatever the other inline 6-cylinders were. But I don't think any of those really, it's hard for an older motor to make what a modern motor does. And then you'd have to decide on would you pick a big block? Which generation of the big block would you pick? The one that made the most power is the Mark IV, certainly more than the other ones. But then you could pick an 8.1, which makes a lot of torque. And then would you pick a small block? Would you pick a 302 or you could pick from a 262 all the way up to a 400-inch motor. So there's lots of small blocks that you could pick the big variants of that thing. So what else? What's your favorite camshaft? What's the best cam? What's the very best cam that you could possibly get away with? It's not. There isn't that. Not the single overhead cam. Yep. I got to go ahead and read some of these comments now. See what you guys got going on. Live in 2025. Yep, that's right. Are you in either Australia or New Zealand or something? Greetings, Prestige. Last stream of 2024. How the time has gone by. Alan, Jordan, Winston, Justin. We are 2025 already in Queensland. Shout out to the Aussie boys. Alan, I'm going to try and convince my dad to put either an Atlas or a North Star engine in his street car. We're going to build it later this year. That would be cool. Happy New Year to everybody. I'm sorry, did I just hear you say that you're putting an LS in the Fox? Yes, we're going to put an aluminum 5.3 in there so that we can use it as a test bed for stuff on our store. QLD was late to the East Coast party last night. Ain't no party like an East Coast party because the East Coast party don't stop. Racer D, What's going on, Steve or Dave? Steve, I was thinking brulee. Happy New Year. May all your dreams come true. I don't know if all of them will. I'm still waiting for the McLaren. What's your favorite pizza? My favorite pizza is from a local place here called Pietro's. It's called the Super Special. That's my favorite one. But I like I like pirate pizza down at West Tech also. I get the pepperoni's good, but I like their sausage. Toyota FJ76, the forbidden fruit. Happy New Year. Nobody is good. And beekeeper. Yes. Protect the hive. Den of Thieves. Happy New Year. Supposedly Den of Thieves 2 is on its way. That'll be good. I thought that they did a good job with that. Reacher series is good. Better than the movie. Okay. I'm having trouble with YouTube. Uh-oh. 60 to 66 Chevy GMC trucks, Suburbans, and panels. It's a big range. I like it. Like the 69 Cadillac Eldorado. Yes. Are those the giant 69? Is that the giant 2 doors? 68, 69 Camaros or 80s square body Chevys. It's a good book I can get from the public library. Well, you can get, this is probably there. How to Build the New Hemi by Richard Holder. I haven't read it. I can't try to remember the last good book I read. I read one on Area 51 a while back. I read a book about Laird Hamilton that a lady wrote who is obviously very infatuated with Laird. And how would you not be? The guy's awesome. About big wave surfing and about the ocean in general, so being one with that and stuff, which is very, very cool. What else have I read recently? My go-to is always Phantom Toll Booth. I own a 74 XB 351C Ford Falcon Coupe. That's very cool. I own my favorite car, 67 GTO. Nice, 44 years. Got it when I was 19. Is it a tri-power GTO or what is it, 389? Training Day, by far the best movie ever. So that one is one that speaks to you. Tombstone is awesome. School of Hard Knocks. School of Rock is also good. Missed my early Bronco. Sold it just before prices went crazy. We're going to need a bigger boat. I know. Like Mad Max. I bought the car model used in the movie. Mad Max was good. And I thought I liked Road Warrior even better than Mad Max. I thought that was a great sequel. Just like I thought Aliens was a great sequel to the Alien movie. Like a 96, 97 F-150. Max effort, but reliable. 460, 351, making 400 wheel horsepower for a lifelong daily. There you go. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That's good. Yep. Lee Van Cleef. Clint Eastwood. Anybody like Landman? I'm not familiar with that. Oran Park, the main track. Amaru Park, second. Rubicon Trail, that's good. Bathurst, I've never been there, but I've watched racing there. It's pretty cool. Car, 1966 Pontiac Parisine. You know, 90% of Fords are on the road and 10% of them are running. Positive displacement for the street. Okay. I got to take a really nice Viper around mid-Ohio a few times. Talk about a thrill. I do like, for Vipers, I do like Viper GTSs, and so does Lisa. She likes those cars. Cleveland, yeah, Cleveland rocks. That's right. Richard, what kind of power adder for a tow rig with limited space for an intercooler? The nice thing about trucks for a tow vehicle is they usually have under hood room. So a Roots blower with an air-to-water intercooler sandwiched underneath it usually works pretty good. I like turbos the most, but lastly, I've been wanting to try a centrifugal procharger setup. Like my Oldsmobile stuff. Oldsmobile Rocket. I actually owned an Oldsmobile. My grandmother gave it to me. It was a 67 Cutlass. Gonna get a trophy for Pontiac in the new year. We're gonna run that. It's ready. It's been sitting there for a long time. Drain the Swamp likes the FE. I like the 464 valves the most, but they don't tend to fit in the engine base. 427 camera. We're using the dyno to find the bugs for stock setup on the Omni. We're going to use the dyno with the Omni to have a starting point, a baseline, and then I want to have available, because I don't see it out there, I want to show people what things actually do in terms of power output. So what does a 2.5-inch exhaust do? What does each pound of boost? What is that worth? What is an intercooler upgrade worth? What is the 85 worth? What is the difference between the early non-intercooled intake manifold on the non-intercooled turbos versus the one-piece and two-piece? Which one of those is better, the one-piece or the two-piece? Those there are a lot of things that a lot of questions that I want answered, and then I would like that information out there forever for guys that are looking for that. I think I prefer a root supercharger with twin turbos feeding it. There you go. Compound it. I'll take a Windsor over an FE or the Y block every time. Y block was the only Ford engine with a rear mounted distributor. Not the single overhead cam. .632 big block. That's a good one. That's not a production one, but still good. Race the right supercharged again after your dyno debugging. I don't know what you mean by that. I have a twin turbo supercharged project I'm selling up for nitrous. It wasn't super expensive. So you got your refueling system done for that? 350 versus 351. Yeah, was that a question? Is that you wanted to see that tested or something? I don't like Siamese ports. The small block. I would kind of agree with that. I got to drive a 65 Stingray with a 350 horse 327 and a 4-speed. That was probably the best small block I've driven. I got to drive one of those also. My old girlfriend's dad had one. What are you going to do with the engine currently in the Fox? There isn't an engine in the Fox. It doesn't have an engine in it right now. It's engineless and transmissionless. Pietro's is good. Alan, so you're from that? You've been around this area? Oh, that's right. That's right. You were talking to Todd about the Sacramento area, right? 350 Windsor or 351 Cleveland, and do the aftermarket parts crossover. They kind of do. You can bolt the same heads on both of them, but you'd have to do a little bit of work because the cooling system is different. But the intake manifolds don't, because obviously a Windsor intake manifold and a 351 Cleveland, the deck height is also different on the blocks, but some of the things are, like I said, the head stuff does bolt on. I was hoping you're going to go with the 351 Cleveland 400M Cleveland in your Fox body. No Clevelands in the Fox body. And if I did, certainly not a 400. If I was going to choose between those two, not the tall deck 400 or 351M, a Cleveland would be a better choice, I think, for that. I need some books. My mind is getting stale. Have you seen your pick on Comp's YouTube playlist? Looks like you're having a stroke. I haven't. Somebody send me a picture of that. 1966 Pontiac, power adder, nitrous oxide, favorite boost, roots blower, favorite engine, big block Chevy, 90s LT1, fuel delivery, carburetor, racing type, drag racing. There you go. See, that's how you do it. That's how you step up and play the game right there. Zoo truck hitting it out of the park. 400 stroke to 495. 67 was the first year for the 400. 66 last year for 3.2s. Oh, okay. 67 was the first year for the 400. Okay. It didn't come with a 389 then. But yours is stroke. That's cool. My neighbor in Hawaii, surfer, historical waterman surfer family. Cool. Road Warrior was Mad Max's first U.S. release name. Idiocracy. Yeah, that's good. Went to Summit today and bought the big mother thumper. Great, that's just an hour away. Yeah, that's convenient. I love a big engine in a small car. I have a healthy 408 in an FFR Cobra. Nice. I've driven a 500-inch big block Ford that shifted at 7,500. That is cool. Some of my favorite things. These are a few of my favorite things. Can I run the stock push rods on my LS1 with the Stage 2 Summit cam, LS7 lifters, and 600 lift springs? I don't know about the Summit cam. Like, I don't know what their base circle is. That's what's going to determine whether or not you can run a stock push rod length. What's the best line scene from Pulp Fiction? You mean you bring it down in a stabbing motion? That's the one I like. Race the Baba tuned Golf with Omni when you put the big turbo on it. I don't know what that is. There's a GTS stripped down a bit, no passenger seat. Eric, I'll see you, man. 647 Oldsmobile 330 V8 head forged crankshaft and forged rods like the bigger 435. Okay. Stock GM 350 replacement 4-bolt with a 72cc chamber head. Recommendation for initial timing with a big mother thumper cam. Is it a carbureted motor? If it is, those heads are probably going to want like 36 degrees of total timing. And so initial, I don't know how you're going to do your curve. I would just get it so that it starts up, but probably somewhere near 10 or 12. 64 Oldsmobile 330 head shaft rocker arms. KM, happy New Year to you too. What happened to the Fox engine? That was the first engine I think that I ever ran at West Tech on the engine dyno. I learned a lot in 2024. Wish I was more efficient by writing down my questions. Are you open to viewing of other tech tuning on dyno video setups, comparisons, inputs, or insights? I don't know. What are you asking? What are you asking if I am open to other people's suggestions about what we should test? Pontiacs don't get any love. Any tests coming up? Yeah, I have the 350. I have a torque storm to run on it. I have the Pontiac Trophy 4-cylinder, which is really other guys' weird stuff, even more weird than Pontiac normally is. So I have some cams and stuff that I want to run on the 350. I've got aluminum heads. I've got a bunch of stuff. ATV proven. The shirts are up on the site. Got my Turbo 5.3 started today. Congratulations, Quinn. Thanks again for the ARP washer advice a couple weeks ago. That's important. I speak from experience that has caused problems. Any good tune shops can recommend in SoCal? I'm in the high desert. I don't know about tuning. This guy had a 1990 Silverado Pro Street 500-inch Pro Charger. It would chirp overdrive. Wow. I'd love to drive something with an Oldsmobile Ramrod 350. The Spirit RT round 2 after the dyno. No, I didn't ever race my car against the Spirit. That was 2 cars from the car farm. That was actually Brian's Omni, I think. And then I don't know who owned the RT. Yeah, the RT, I don't even know if I'd have to ask Ben. I think we don't know if the RT was actually stock. I did gap them 26 thousandths. Do you know where to find the shirts? They're not showing up. Yeah, you got to go to the second page, Jordan. Near. go to the catalog, and they're on page 2. Now he added another color. They're red and blue. The red and blue has always been available. At least on the second order, they were available. Which one do I have on now? Yeah, it's just like this. I have my wrong camp shirt on now. And the early one that Lisa did, these two, the writing was 2 different colors, but the new shirts are all the same color. Wrong cam short sleeve. They're all short sleeve shirts. Yeah, I can do. If you guys want, Jimmy's been pushing me to do other merch, hoodies probably, and I don't know, hats or something. How much are 6.0s in the junkyard? In the LKQs that we have, they're the same price as anything else. So if you can find them and you're the first guy there to get them, because they're pretty popular, much more popular than 4.8s and 5.3s, they're the same price. Any small block Ford going on the store in 2025? Not small block Ford parts, I don't think. In fact, we got to have a poll here. Let me ask you guys what do you guys think? Okay, would you like to see some garage sale items from my storage listed on the store? Or maybe even only listed for the Patreon people, because I need to set that up. I've been only talking about that for 4 years now, but let me know, because I need to get the storage things cleaned out and organized, and a good way to do that, Jimmy was talking about, he recommended that we go down there and do a live feed and do a live bidding thing down there. I'm like, I think that might be a little too much, but maybe we could get them and film them and list them up and have an area on the store where it's like the overstock or the used car garage or whatever, and we could put stuff up there and sell it, because there are a lot of things that are not just the things that we're selling on the store. I have stuff for all kinds of engine families there that I would like to see people using. Come on, race the Spirit. I don't. The Spirit won't be near my car once we take it down to Georgia, or once I bring it back here. They won't be together. Richard, you could open up an engine build shop. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to build engines for people. The man I like Oldsmobile V8 also. There's also a YouTube guy in Rockford, Illinois. I watch. He races a 71 Cutlass with a 350 rocket in it. 1140s. That's nice. Can you please revisit the Big Bang series of testing this time and push them to the end? Are you talking about the 6-liter one? Small block Ford guys are hard to find parts. How is a small block Ford? How is it hard to find parts for a small block Ford? There's like a bajillion of them. I'm not on Patreon. Nobody is right now on this channel because I don't have it set up. I sent you the comp pic to Facebook. Okay, I don't have my phone here, I don't think. I would do a whatnot auction. You would sell everything. Big Bang engine broken parts too. you want the bent rods and all that. Thank you for taking the time to answer questions. Yeah, I'm always there to try to help. Big Bang 5.3 and 6.0. I've already done the 5.3. I think a 5.3 would take more though, honestly. For anybody wondering, the $100 Summit 44 millimeter wastegate looks identical to the Max Speeding Rods 44 millimeter wastegate for $68. What's the next Big Bang? I'm thinking it probably would be the 3800. Counting down to the new year. Yeah, somewhere it's coming up. So it's going to be 9 o'clock. So on the East Coast, it's going to be right 1, 2, 3. Yeah. This Rocket 38 gets it power from the factory ported iron heads. That's cool. Autograph t-shirts. I can do that. I actually have some of the shirts here at my house. So I could do autographed ones if you want those. Honestly, I think that makes them worth less, but yeah, I could do that. Found someone on Facebook selling a 55 International pickup with an Isuzu diesel engine for 10 grand. Know of any place to get a good mid-range cam for a 7Q? What's a 7Q 240Z? It runs like it's getting tough to find a small block Ford. Why is it? I don't understand. There's lots of small block Fords in the wrecking yards. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. They are parts of honor for a good Big Bang performance that make a little loyalists happy. We've probably thrown away all the Big Bang stuff, I would imagine. I do have I think I still have, I have to look and see. I think I still have one of the high rams from the nitrous one that got, I know at least the lid got bent. Most of the cheap wastegates are the same. I run two of the $45 40 millimeters on my build. Some of us would old guys would buy them signed. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. We are still going to do a cam giveaway. I'm just figuring out what day that's going to be, because you know, 1 million views. I mean, I'm still excited about that. I'm still happy and amazed. How's our poll doing? Would you like to see some garage sale items for my storage listed on the store? 92% saying yes. I have lots of weird stuff. Oh, I guess weird stuff, but 2-piece timing covers and timing chain sets and forged rods and, you know, just all kinds of weird stuff. No need for the giveaway. Just send the Trick Flow Stage 2 cam for the small block Ford media mail inside a magazine. What sounds better? A carb big block large tube, long tube headers with a hard cam chop, or a small block Chevy alcohol injection, roots blown with a heavy blower surge? I don't know. You got to pick. You got to decide the thing that speaks to you the loudest there. So chill. You're not feeling the F-150 there? I haven't seen a 289 or a 302 in a junkyard in years, not even a 5-liter. I've seen a couple of 351s. We see lots of them in trucks. And I've seen lots of HO 302s in the wrecking yard. We don't see them. I see them occasionally. I've seen a couple of Mustangs actually, but we see T-Birds and other full-size ones. All of those sound like artwork. The timing set looks good. Makes good clocks. Yeah. Asking what I prefer. I don't know that I've heard any of those up close. Small block Chevy alcohol injection, roots blown with a heavy blower surge. I don't know that I've ever seen a small block Chevy run on alcohol with a blower at West Tech. I don't remember seeing that. Have you ever considered doing a Big Bang with nitromethane or something crazy like that? I would like to test nitromethane. There have been discussions about that. Our FIC 83-pound injectors similar to Deca 80s. They're bigger, and the FICs that we have on the store at richardholderperformance.com actually fit with the truck intake with the factory fuel rail. The Deca 80s won't do that. They're a lot taller. And so we've run them. I've run the Deca 80s and lots of stuff, but that's because on the engine dyno, I don't mind spacing up the factory rail to make it work. And we're just holding it down, you know, for the dyno pulls. It's not a setup that I would use to be driving around or racing with, but for dyno pulls, it's okay. So it's nice to have the right size injector so that the injector length is right and that the O-rings are right. And then the rail bolts down solidly against the rail mounts. Just is safer to have it like that. Lunchbox, you made the last live of the year. Roots Blower Surge is so cool, but not practical, but awesome on the track. I see those. I see those on boats too. To me, that would kind of be annoying. That's not what I would want. Particularly, it's surgy when you're coming up, and it's the critical part about parking. Nitromethane is $330 for 5-gallon can. Yeah, I remember Garrett saying that. But we wouldn't need very much, hopefully, to be able to learn something. And think about it, if we bought 2 of those and spent $660, then that's about what a turbo costs, right? What about LT motors? Yep. Those are good. You can make power with them. Streetcar, Richard, I know you probably hit on this many times before. I have 100 over 454. Man, you went big, right? With peanut port heads? That's interesting. Flat top pistons. Do you have a cam recommendation? Double duty, street, and strip. So you're trying to make like strip power with peanut port heads? And then it would really depend on just how much street you're doing and how much strip you're doing. Do you want to favor it more toward one or the other? Do you have a converter? What goes wrong with the LT motors? I don't know. Do they have a Achilles heel or something that I don't know about? Base circle of 720 on the intake and 720 on the exhaust. Did you measure the base circle? Did you compare it to the cam that you're replacing it with? $12 a.m. here in New York. Happy New Year. That's right. Oh, that's right. It just clicked over. So Happy New Year to all the people on the East Coast. 2 minutes. Surge goes away on launch. Building a 468 with ported peanut ports right now for my 49 Cadillac flower car, twin 3582s. Cool. How daily reliable are those trucks? Which trucks are you talking about? Speed, what's going on? I just punched out, home feed up, dreamy of glorious 2025 speed. There you go. Nitros for my twin turbo supercharged big block Cadillac. I don't like my Ford, might get back to GM. Okay. Street more than strip. It's a total budget build. It's been 830s on the 8th with a 308 gear. I'm trying to get it into the 7s. I'd have to look at the. So what did we make with that? We did one where we did ported peanut ports. Here we go. Yeah, so we made 510 or something, and then 515 foot-pounds with peanut port heads. And that was a 20 cc dome piston on a 468. It had a 248, 254, 560, 580, 110 comp cam, and it's an XR300, so pretty good size cam. We had a Mylodon V-Drive oil pan on it, a big square box, basically. Edelbrock Victor Jr., 950 Holly on it, roller rockers on it. And that made over 500. So space decas on factory Trailblazer SS rails are dangerous. I feel like they're bolted down properly. They shouldn't ever have an issue, right? I don't. They won't. We've never had a problem with them. I'm just saying that I wouldn't run them out on the street the way that we've run them. If you have a spacer between the mounting flange and the arm that comes off of the fuel rail, and it's the right length, and it's, you know, basically acts as an aluminum or whatever you make it out of. If it acts as a spacer, that would be fine. Surface rust is okay on cams and lifter body, right? Tried wiping it off. Yeah, I put oil on Scotch Brite and just wipe it off. It usually comes off pretty good. I'll buy heads for it this year, but would like to see how far I could push the peanut ports. Cam is small, 219 duration. Yeah. Evapo rust remover. I thought I stored it good. Rust last year. Uh-oh. Happy New Year from the East Coast. Rust forms in 3 days. A 6.6 10 speed would go nuts. I figure the peanuts on boost will be fine for the flower car. Yep. Richard, do the peanut ports need hardened seats put in them before running that size cam? I don't think we put new seats in it. Okay, I was slightly worried. How have y'all run the decas? Just the way that we just said, or with aftermarket fuel rails on them too. I believe the UPS trucks have 6.6s in them. The new ones do. Don't worry so much. This will be a good new year. We had a good month in December. If we keep having months like that, it will be nice. I just since we just started, I just have no idea how, you know, how the business is going to track. Would you like to see some garage sale items for my storage listed on the store? 89 to 11%. Said more people. Who would say no to that? We're going to end our poll right there. Are the Deca 80 injectors less than the FIC injectors? I think we have FICs on sale right now. White lithium grease is good for storing parts for long periods. ICT makes all kinds of spacers for just about any injector for the LS truck and rail. Yeah, but an injector spacer doesn't help you when the injector is already too long. It needs to go the other way. It needs to be a spacer taker away, or it needs to make the injector smaller, and that doesn't work. Unless they have injector rail spacers. I mean, it's just you could cut a piece of aluminum tubing or whatever, or even bar stock and drill a hole in it. It's not insurmountable. But doing all that, I think I'd rather just buy the right injector than do that. A negative spacer, that's right. Don't be so negative. Well, in this case, we need to be negative. What's in the garage sale? All the stuff that I have in storage. Lots of it. Lots of stuff. I'm going to try to get rid of a bunch of the engines this year, too. Near. Holiday sale. Ooh, British Columbia. He's got 2 more orders. One up in Canada. Shout out to the boys in Canada. Streetcar. Thank you very much. We will have a beverage probably tonight. Weld washers together. Yeah, that's a lot of work. A 240 what? The 240Z? That's not in my storage. Have any Gen 6 454s? I do have one in there. I think it's gone though. I mean, I think it's sold. I got to get rid of things. 317s and some 862s, but seems like marketplace is flooded with them. Yeah, those are pretty easy to find in the wrecking yard. How can I open a Facebook account without an ID or verification photo to use marketplace? I don't know. I don't know that you can do that. I think they want to know who you are, which is good because I don't want to have a bunch of people that are not real people on there. What's the best engine car you've ever driven? If funds were an issue, the dream car. I talked about this a lot of times. It'd be a McLaren F1, but mine would have boost on it though. I like to collect and don't let anything go. They make spacers, adapters, and plug adapters for. What's your performance performance store name? It's richardholdnerperformance.com. Why only one? Compound roots fed by huge turbo. Okay. Let me know if you have a Gen 6. I think I only had one, and I think that's gone. They needed a selfie. You can't do a selfie? The last live I made, I mentioned a Tonawanda 454 and never coming across one. Well, today is a day, I guess, a buddy of mine made a trade. I'll be picking up tomorrow, and it's an L21. Okay. The Tonawanda is just where they're made, but the L21 is the good one, though. I didn't think you could ship stuff to Canada. We can now that we have the store set up. We have credit cards and all that. Just like a real business. Wanted to find local used car parts or gym equipment. I do have some 25-pound dumbbells and some 30s. I took those down to West Tech because I would work out while I was down there, especially when I was doing American Ninja Warrior stuff. Quinn, Happy New Year. I got booted off 2020. Can be YouTube 100%. Happy New Year. I got 1 more minute, then we're off all this year. We'll be back until next year. Because that's how we do it. The clock is ticking. One more question came to mind. I see the answers are mixed. How do you feel about stock suspension for turbo applications? I don't know what you mean. Why would the suspension care what the turbo is doing? Are you trying to drag race or something? It's already next year. Yep. It is. I won't be in next year for 3 hours or 2 hours and 46 minutes, 45 minutes now. Roll racing. I think you should set your suspension up to work with the speed and power that you're trying to apply. Generally, stock suspensions in stock vehicles are not designed to be going making 150 or 200 mile an hour passes on the freeway. And on that note, it is time to go. Thank you guys for all of your support, and I will be back tomorrow, and I'll be back next year. Happy New Year.